I don't think people realize how fast inflation is slowly rising because of how unconscious we all are right now.
Canada used to be one of the most safe places to live, and now it's becoming terrifying.
The crazy part is, the more you work, the more the government takes. Welcome to the endless loop of just working to survive.
All the outsiders that say Canada's soft, Canada's safe, Canada's not like that for real. It's the #1 safest country, bro.
Thanks to them refusing to build and importing 1 million people a year without planning, housing is now considered a luxury item. We are drowning in debt.
There's nobody that I talk to that says Canada's better off than it was 5 or 10 years ago. You know, like...
Vancouver, Canada is one of the most loneliest places in the world. It's actually also an evil city. It's one of the most evil cities in the world.
Canada is not for people of color. A Hispanic guy come, when we was leaving, they treated him like pure shit.
So as you may or may not know, Canada is officially dead. Canada is done. It had been declining steadily and heavily for 10, 11, 12 years now, but officially dead. And it's wild how so many people don't realize what's happening in their own country, where anywhere I go in the world, people hear that I'm Canadian, they're like, I'm sorry for your loss. Yeah, many people down here in Costa Rica have left Canada because they realize that it is just deceased. Beyond all of the ridiculous immigration, the laws, the wokeism, the trade deals with America that is absolutely done, our economy collapsing, the freedom of speech laws that are being passed, a government that absolutely is on a trajectory to just completely implode the country. It is sad, honestly. And it's wild how more people don't realize that it's one of the most unaffordable countries. We have the worst healthcare. Soon, me being a Canadian saying this online is going to be illegal? If it's not already legal? Like, what is hate speech? It's just absolutely wild. So, if you have ever considered packing up your bags, leaving Canada, getting out, renouncing your residency, you can absolutely do that. There are many places in the world that are wonderful, that are beautiful, that are affordable, where you can get great healthcare, education, although I do recommend homeschooling your kids so that they don't become brain dead like the rest of society. But yeah, there are other options. So I know so many of you that have been messaging me being like, Sam, Canada, how do I leave? It's not that hard. You just need to make a plan, pick a country, get a visa. Oftentimes you don't even need a visa. Pack up your life and move there. I always tell you that being an entrepreneur is the easiest way, so that you are not location dependent and that you are not job dependent. When you have the ability to work from anywhere in the world, it means that you can go and move anywhere in the world when you realize that your country is absolutely destroyed. So yeah, this little video is to bring awareness and to write you a permission slip that if you're not happy where you are and you realize that your country is completely an abomination, you can get up and leave. Okay, bye.
Canada's tax system is broken for workers. You work 12-hour shifts 7 days a week and still barely survive. If you're a laborer making $60K a year, nearly 30% of your check is gone before you even get to see it. And that's just income tax. Before GST, property tax, and insane rent prices eat up the rest. After taxes, you're left with around $42K. Now subtract $1,500 a month for rent, $800 for groceries, $400 for gas, and you're already in the red before you even save a dime. And the crazy part is, the more you work, the more the government takes. Welcome to the endless loop of just working to survive. Does this feel familiar? Comment below and drop a follow if you're tired of this life.
I cannot be the only person in Canada that literally hates it here. Like, bro, what the fuck? You can't afford anything. Inflation is ridiculous. Food is fucking ridiculous. Like, unless you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 jobs, you're not making no fucking money. We don't have no fucking real creator apps for influencing in fucking Canada. Like, the weather is shit half the fucking time. It's fucking still cold outside. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. The parties are shit. I actually just hate it here.
There's a trend that's been happening in Canada for the last basically forever. And that trend is it gets more difficult every year to live on the average income in this country. And nobody's happy about this, believe me. I don't think anyone is happy about the cost of living being as high as it is right now. But here's the thing. We spend all this time and energy complaining about how it could be better, why it should be better, and all of these things. And it should be. The reality of it is that it's not, and it's never gotten better. Maybe for like a small little blip in time, a year, 2 years here and there, but the general macro trend is that it only gets worse. So we basically have no data to even suggest that this is long-term fixable. So it's my opinion that the only way you are going to fix this for yourself, not everybody as a whole, but you can fix it for yourself, is to either increase your income or own assets that supplement the income you already have. And this is why I will always side with buying a home over renting a home for the majority of people. The majority of people aren't going to go start a business and make 500 grand, $1 million bucks a year because of all the stress and pain and suffering that comes with doing that. But if you buy a home, that mortgage payment should be easier to pay every passing year, especially right now with interest rates on the way down. Your income should go up at least incrementally every year. And also with inflation is going to eat away the value of the mortgage payment that you have. Your $1,000 mortgage payment will be worth $970 in today money next year, if that makes sense, because every year you're paying down that same mortgage payment with cheaper dollars. So if all else fails and you don't start a business, or you don't know how to start a business, or you don't want to do that, or you don't want to invest in stocks or crypto or invest in real estate, if at the very least you bought a house, you could take some certainty and comfort in the fact that while the cost of everything else is going up, your mortgage payment is getting cheaper.
I don't think people realize how fast inflation is slowly rising because of how unconscious we all are right now. For example, I worked at McDonald's for like 6 years, so I know the prices pretty well, right? Last year, a medium chocolate milkshake was $4.20, which is already pretty expensive. A year later, it is now $5.65. How the hell is 3 hash browns $9? Are you seriously trying to tell me 1 hash brown is $3 each? Yet they're already importing a shit ton of slave labor to cut down costs. 1 pound sack of potatoes is around $3. Canada grows a shit ton of potatoes in this country. There is no reason for prices to be this high. It makes absolutely no sense. And people forget every time you spend money, you're paying a little bit of that to the government. We have 40 million people in this country, all buying things all the time. So think about just in one day, how much tax revenue the government makes just by us spending. We're basically paying the government every single time we spend money, plus all the money they take off of our paychecks. And then when you find out that that money is going overseas for some LGBTQ $30 million tax haven project in Africa, you wonder why everyday people are getting upset and waking up. This government is so corrupt. They are taxing us to death. They are making things so expensive for the everyday working person. It is absolutely out of control now. People need to start thinking about the numbers and realizing this shit. That in itself will make you lean away from your left-leaning ideas of let's just spend more money. Let's throw more money at NGOs. Let's throw more money at government programs when you're not even thinking about all the money that they're already getting.
All the outsiders that say Canada's soft, Canada's safe, Canada's not like that for real. It's the #1 safest country. Bro, you're wrong. I honestly think that Canada, well, Toronto, is just as active as Chicago, Detroit, Michigan, Baltimore. And before you guys get on my head, I'm not saying that's a good thing. If those stereotypes were true, we would all be living better. The hoodmans do not play here. They'll give you one to your head. And the worst part is guns are not legal. But every man is perking. So if you blow it, just know you're doing time regardless. These Toronto hoodmans don't play. So to everyone that's saying Canada soft, go to Toronto and play with the wrong hood.
Canada is basically the warning label that nobody else in the world is actually paying attention to right now. Canada has the least affordable housing in the G7, not only because our government decided to temporarily spike our debt to GDP ratios by mass importing people, even though we had absolutely no room for them or infrastructure, but because the government cooked the market. Thanks to them refusing to build and importing 1 million people a year without planning, housing is now considered a luxury item. We are drowning in debt. Canada's current economy is the exact example of what happens when globalists and ideology take over your nation, and they say things like spend less to invest more. However, you have nothing to show for it at all because they have hindered all of our other opportunities to actually make money. So when they say spend more, they mean give more subsidies so people stop leaving, and give more corporate bailouts, corporate welfare, so that they can convince and bribe people to operate in Canada without actually having to reverse any of their disastrous policies that make people allergic to investing in Canada in the first place. Free speech is basically on life support. We have more hate speech bills than anything else. There's absolutely no protections when it comes to diversity of thought, ideas, and actually expressing them online. They have bills in Parliament right now, which would actually grant the government powers for you to have your internet cut off if you are deemed a threat based on your speech and what you're doing on your computer. Again, always very loosely defined. It's for our safety, of course. Duh. Even though there's already laws in place to deal with that sort of stuff, they just don't act on them. In fact, we actually let criminals out of jail the same day that they're arrested half the time because it costs too much money to keep them incarcerated. Oh, and do you want to know what our country's main news source is? It is federally funded outlets who get promised even more money during election campaigns and get paid with taxpayer dollars throughout the year. In fact, they've used that as an excuse to protect Canadian identity while shutting out all other independent competitors and having a crazy unelected bureaucracy that actually gets to control and manipulate algorithms and what people see and are allowed to say online. You know what I think is really crazy though, is so many people still have this idea in their head that Canada is a strong, free, peaceful, stable nation. But while we're over here politely collapsing under all of our own failures, I just want you to take a moment to remember Canada and take it as a warning of this is what happens when you allow globalism to take over your country.
So I've been thinking about making this video for a while now. It's been on my mind, and I wanted to say that Canada's fucked. Like, I just got back from the grocery store, and the amount that $100 gets you is almost nothing nowadays. It's like one bag of groceries is $100. It's crazy. Yeah, it's making me worried for our future and for my kids' future. There's nobody that I talk to that says Canada's better off than it was 5 or 10 years ago, you know, like, so if you're an immigrant and you're thinking of coming here, hold off, don't. If you're a Canadian and you think that Canada's better off than it was 10 years ago, that we're in a better financial position as Canadians, I'd love to hear your point of view. It's funny because, like, I was raised by a single mom in the 70s and 80s, and she could buy a house. She bought a house as a single parent, a single woman in the 70s. It wasn't a great house, it was a duplex, part of a duplex, right? But a single woman in the 70s, single mom in the 70s, sorry, could buy a house. Now, people can't buy houses anymore. People can barely afford to live. I'm not going to put it on one political party or the other. I'm kind of hoping that the election coming up will change something, but yeah, really, Canada's fucked.
Vancouver, Canada is one of the most loneliest places in the world. It's actually also an evil city. It's one of the most evil cities in the world. It's the 9x6. So, and it's the VVZ. No, but really. Vancouver is one of the most evil cities in the world. The activities here that go on is insane. You guys will never know about it. But anyway, this is like fraud capital of the world. But I just wanted to share that also in Vancouver, it is something to be lonely. People don't like getting together. It's the ignore each other city. It's the city where you go where people ignore each other, and that's just like the good, on a good day. So if you want to come to Vancouver, you can have rain, an evil city, loneliness, ignoring each other. This is some of the secrets that you didn't know about Vancouver that actually are the reality of this city.
Canada used to be one of the most safe places to live, and now it's becoming terrifying. I live in Vancouver, Canada, and there has been so many insane things going on. I just saw an article of a girl, she was in Cole Harbour, walking, got attacked. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times by this man. He was out to kill her. She somehow managed to escape, fought her way off, found police, he got arrested, and now I'm reading that he now has been let go. And he's been let go because he is deemed mentally unwell. So he was having an episode of some kind. I don't know. Why is someone that is not mentally well able to go back into public when he almost killed her? That should be attempted murder. Or lock him up and get him mental health that he needs if that is the issue. And we are not taking it seriously. There was a huge hospital called Riverview that people would go to if they had mental health issues. I don't know why, but they shut it down. And obviously, if they shut down a hospital and there's a bunch of patients in it, where are they all gonna go? To the street! To the streets! That's why we have the downtown east side, Hastings Street, where all the drug addicts and people are, because they are just trying to get by in life. They're just trying to help their issues by numbing it. I don't judge anyone for 1 second being homeless. They probably have had a tough life. But what needs to happen is we need to have better access to mental health, and we need to help people with mental health and not just deem it, oh, it's just mental health, and let them go, because this is causing major issues in our city. Only days after this girl was announced attacked by this guy, and then the guy got let go, another incident happened. There was a Filipino festival happening here, and a guy drove a car through the festival, and now announced 11 people are dead. This sounds like something that you would hear about that happens in the States. It is not safe. I used to feel so safe walking here as a girl. I don't anymore. Now I take extra precaution because you really never know. It just takes one time, one bad area, wrong interaction, you're done. And you know what's even worse about our system that we have here is if you're a girl and you have some kind of mace, whether it's bear mace, you can actually get bear mace at Canadian Tire. And it's pink, it's cute, it's in a little bottle. My friend has it. You can have it. But if you were to use it on someone to protect yourself, you are going to be charged. Not the person attacking you, but you, as trying to protect yourself as a woman, are going to be charged for it. Which is actually insanity, because what are we supposed to do? If a guy is coming at you and you're a girl, how are you supposed to protect yourself? At this rate, I don't even care if I were to be charged. I'm picking up some pink bear mace. And I'm holding that near and dear to my pocket, because if I had to choose between being fined or having trauma or potentially my life at risk, I would rather be charged. Charge me. Charge me.
See, it's a lie. Don't let anybody lie to you. Most ladies, they were not single until they got to Canada. Like, yeah, back in Nigeria, you know, they'll be like, oh, I'm single, but there's somebody there. Like, there's just something, there must be something there. You get it? But you see, in Canada, when someone tell you, I am single, believe them. You will see beautiful ladies saying, oh, I am single. Like, just believe that they are single. Being single in Canada is the real single. Like, you literally have nobody you're talking to. Nothing. Like, you are just single. Like the word single. Seriously, if you really want to be single and you want that, you know, space and life, you know, you want to live a single life, just come to Canada, you know, you live the life.
Hey y'all, quick story time on this New Year's Eve. So I want to come and bring awareness to Canada, the Canadians, the white people, right? Planned a birthday trip for my husband. His birthday is New Year's Day. Been planning the trip a little over 2 months. Paid for a Raptors game, which is supposed to be tomorrow. Reserved the W Hotel, which is in downtown Toronto. We had dinner reservations on Sunday. However, we're from Chicago. We drove to Canada because we wanted the experience. We like road trips. Now, man, we have passports, all documentation, cars insured, whatever. We was racially profiled. As soon as we got to the border, they asked us for our passports. All the questions started. Why you want to come to Canada? Mini trip to Toronto. Why you want to come here? Never been everywhere else. Why not? It's a quick drive, 8 hours from the Chi. Whatever. Do you got any drugs or weapons in the car? No. Got any alcohol? Absolutely. We got 2 bottles of Patron, 2/5. Okay, well, since this y'all first time coming, they told us we had to proceed to the immigration area because this was our first time. Okay, we got you. We ain't never been to Canada. We'll go. All right. Go over there. Now, my husband drive a Jeep SRT. So, immediately, 3 or 4 officers come to the truck. They tell us we got to get out. They got to search the unit because it's our first time in Canada. Again, not thinking none of it. We following protocol. We never been to Canada. We don't know. We don't know the process. When we went to Dubai, it was easy. You know, smooth transition as long as you had your documentation. So we get out. They checking my purse. They checking our suitcases. They checking the visors. They checking under the seats. They checking his book bag with his PS5 in it. They was checking everything. Oh, they checked the tires. I guess you can have some shit under the tires. So, of course, car is clean. They found nothing. They then tell us we got to go inside the immigration place. Because, again, this is our first time. Still, no red alerts right now. We just thinking, all right, whatever. We go in. All Caucasian people is sitting at the counter. Nobody greeted us. Nobody asked us if we needed help. So I asked, can we get some assistance? Caucasian lady, you can come to us. Gave her our passports and the yellow slip that they give you when you grade across the bridge. Again, asked us the same damn questions. Why you coming to Canada? When is his birthday? Well, why we coming on Saturday? Well, his birthday is Monday. Why would we drive down here on Monday? We go to work Tuesday. Where you guys work at? We told him our employer. Both of you? Well, we told you both of us work there. Okay, whatever. So again, since this was our first time to Canada, they proceeded to tell us they need to do a background check. Well, why? We never been over here. We have passports, didn't have passports for over 7 years. Why is there a background check required for us? Man, is other Caucasian people coming in and out. They're greeting them, Happy New Year, have a good day, enjoy your trip. But with us, the only skin tone that's our color had to get background checks ran, had to sit in the immigration office for over 2.5 hours, only for them to come. Now, they didn't run the background on me. They only ran it on my husband, okay? Only for them to come back and tell us that they're going to deny his entry to Canada because he was on probation in 2004. 20 fucking years ago. 2004, you're going to deny him entry. However, all the Caucasian people coming in and out, they didn't even ask them for passports, okay? They didn't even ask them, was it their first time to Canada? They did not ask what was their reason for visiting Canada. However, you get brown-skinned people that can afford to come over there to spend their hard-earned money only for you to deny them. Why? Are we a threat to you? Do you not feel like we can afford to come over here with you? Why would you deny us? Out of all the people that was crossing the border, why were we the only 2 of our color to get stopped? But all the Caucasians, okay? All the Caucasian people can come and go. Come and go as they please. And you telling them Happy New Year, have a good day. But when us, people of color, come in, it's a problem. Automatically, we have to have a background. Automatically, it's a reason behind why we want to visit. It was rude. It was distasteful. You ruined my husband's birthday trip. Canada is not for people of color. A Hispanic guy come. When we was leaving, they treated him like pure shit. They was yelling at him. Now, he didn't understand the questions they was asking of him. You could have just brought somebody from the back who maybe spoke Spanish for this young man so that he can understand what was going on. Y'all treated him like he was trash. Again, people of color. White people, y'all got to do better. Y'all have to do better.
One of the scariest parts about living in Canada is they can shut down your bank account whenever they want. Last year, I had one account with 6 figures in it, and they shut down the account on suspicion. And they kept that account shut for 6 months. Now, this was just one of my business accounts, so I didn't really care too much. However, it still had 6 figures in it that I wanted back. And they opened it up after 6 months, and they said, by the way, our mistake, nothing's wrong, you can proceed. But imagine that was my only account. I'd have no income, no bank account, and no savings. For 6 months, I'd basically have nothing. Like, that is such a scary thought, but that's just the reality of living here.
Canada has created a culture that lacks an appreciation for life. I don't think there are a lot of people who are actually aware of how bad it is. Assume that because there is universal healthcare in Canada that everything must be fine. When you dig into it a little bit further, you realize that there's something a little bit more sinister under the surface. For example, you're more likely to lose your life to doctor-assisted euthanasia in Canada than you are to a gun in the United States of America. That sounds insane, I know, but give me a second. In the year 2023, 15,500 Canadians lost their lives to medical-assisted dying in Canada. You take that number and adjust it per capita against the amount of people who lost their lives to guns in the same year, it shows something shocking. 37 out of 100,000 Canadians lost their lives to MAID. There's only 5 out of 100,000 Americans lost them to guns. Now, you might be asking yourself the question, why? Why is this happening? Well, it's because Canada's culture is incredibly utilitarian, and our healthcare system doesn't really work the way it was intended. It created a culture in which we look at people who are suffering, old, and sick, and we say, hey, you're kind of a burden on this system. It's time for you to go now.
In Canada, you'll notice that the ambience at late at night is really scary. This is a terrifying part of town. This is the end of Canada. It is the end. Because what is it in reality? When you have nothing but a cold country and you're sleeping homeless on the streets, poverty, disabled, and have nothing left, what can you do? What can you do in Canada to make it through? You see, in Canada, there's almost no way to fix the country because everybody thinks they own a country that's barely even developed. It's empty. This country is a ghost town. In reality, this is a ghost country. Canada is haunted. The spirits run Canada. Do you know this? The spirits run Canada. Seriously, in the six. And seriously, being with the sickos of the world in the dark side of Canada and being with the spirits, it's fucking crazy. I'm sorry to say, but in Canada's dark side, you won't even be able to comprehend what goes on. Especially in BC. That's an abbreviation of before Christ. And being homeless in B.C. is fucking crazy. You see, we're out here in the six. I'm in the dark side of Canada. I living life in the night. You know, they're always reaching out for what's mine. When you live in the dark side of the world, you wouldn't even be able to comprehend.
I don't understand how I make $34 an hour.
This video is absolutely gut-wrenching. Go watch her whole video, and she is being so raw in her emotions on her frustrations about the fact that she makes $34 an hour, which isn't a bad wage, and simply can't make ends meet. She talks about the fact that she has to buy a loaf of bread and eat toast with peanut butter and make one loaf of bread last her a whole week. I feel like so many Canadians are struggling beyond words right now, and it's just absolutely gut-wrenching. So she talks about the fact that she owns a home and her mortgage is coming up for renewal, and she's terrified, right? Because interest rates have skyrocketed and she has no idea how she's going to be able to afford the increase in her mortgage payments. So there are a few things that you could do in this situation. Now, I don't know her situation specifically, but if you own a home and you have some equity in your home, there are potential solutions. You can look at doing a refinance, which means using the equity in your home. When you do a refinance, you can take the equity out of your home to pay off other debts. Now, there are a lot of debts out there, say vehicle loans that are at higher interest rates, lines of credit, credit card debt that is at higher interest rates than what our mortgages would be. So overall, you do pay less in interest. And at the same time, you can improve your cash flow. She could also look at extending out her amortization. So, for example, if you had 12 years left on your mortgage, you can look at extending it to 25 or 30 years, which will counteract that increase in the interest rates and make your monthly payment more manageable. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to say, I don't want my mortgage to be another 25 or 30 years. And I fully understand that. But when it comes to only being able to eat peanut butter for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with toast, how is that for your health? You know, you do have to consider so many things outside of what might make the best sense. So by extending your amortization out, you can still pay additional money down. So if you were to get to a place where your monthly debt obligations are now manageable, you're probably going to be able to sleep better at night. If you can eat healthy, nutritious food, I mean, that's just going to help your mood and help you get on with every day. So when you do get on top or back on top of things, you can look to pay additional money down on your mortgage every month to get your amortization back down to a point that you're satisfied with. But it will get you through those tough times if need be. The bottom line is there are always options. Instead of feeling so defeated and overwhelmed, you can reach out, contact people, find out what options you have. Sometimes in life, it takes a step back in order to be able to take some steps forward. And that's life. It's not all roses and unicorns, unfortunately. But knowledge is power. And just knowing what your options are, talking to people, you never know what might help you. So if you do own a home and you're feeling the way that this woman is feeling, reach out to a mortgage broker. It doesn't cost you a thing. And they can let you know if there are any options for you. I mean, at least you're trying to do something about it.
So, I've traveled the world quite a bit. Probably more than, well, definitely more than 99% of the population. And in most of the world, like, see, we have a square here, right? You can chill over there, and you can chill over there. I'll show you the rest of this shit. This is Yonge and Eglinton, the neighborhood in Toronto. But do you see how even it doesn't look very inviting, does it, right? You sit on some cold stone benches, modern architecture with no backs to them, and nobody really chills there. The only thing it's really designed for is consumption, right? Because there's a business there, so you buy your burger or whatever fucking food or shit you bought from here, and you can consume it there. A square in Europe or in Asia, like Turkey, there would be people chilling, just talking, maybe smoking cigarettes. There would be the sound of loud buses, the constant sounds, right? If this was in Europe, there would be no cars. It would be a pedestrian zone. Or if there were cars, they would be moving very slowly and they'd be very scarce. The streets would be much smaller. There would be cobblestones. There would be more seating. And it wouldn't be this brutalist modern architecture, postmodern, whatever the fuck this is, the soulless glass and fucking hey, how are you? Glass and sorry, this guy fucking threw me off. Glass and steel and glass and stonework architecture. Although obviously most of Europe has become this too, which is what's happened in the 21st century. It's part of the takeover. It's part of the modern technological engineering takeover. But yeah, they just the vibe is completely different than this, right? This is based on looking good and consuming things and whatever. Like it's just soulless. And people in Europe are also pretty soulless too. A lot of, but not like this. This is different, right? This is completely different. I mean, people there actually live good lives, and they would tell you about their lives or their day. You know what I mean? Nobody would ask you what you do for work. I was in Turkey for 2.5 months, and I traveled with my ex-girlfriend who's from Turkey. I met her parents, her cousins, her aunts, her uncles, her friends, random strangers, her friends from university, her friends from college, people in hotels. Nobody ever asks you what you do for work. They don't give a fucking shit, dude. They ask you about your passions. They ask you about what did you do today? What do you plan on doing tomorrow? Do you want to have coffee? Like, they're living in the moment. It's not transactional, you know what I mean? And nobody, well, not nobody, like people do obviously care about money, but not on the same level as here.